Hello, Unfiltered Waters family, and welcome back. I am so excited about this week. I know you guys are going to be too because of how much you guys love our international guests that we have on. And this one is extra special. Katie and I are so excited to welcome Sarah Sjöström to the podcast today. Sarah is one of the most iconic swimmers in this generation. All right, before I even get into this, I am pulling these medal counts from World Aquatics. So if they are wrong, do not come at me. Come at World Aquatics, because it was so hard to find an accurate medal count for Sarah because her career has been so illustrious. She is on to her 5th consecutive games, was what Paris was for her. She has said she will be training for LA, which if she were to qualify would be her 6th Olympics. So let me just try and break this down for you so you get some idea of what Sarah has accomplished. She has 6 Olympic medals, 3 of which are gold, 25 long course world championship medals, 14 of which are gold, 11 short course world swimming championships, 6 of which are gold. This is mind blowing. Swimming World Cup, 122 medals, triple digits, 69 of which are gold, and then 28 European Championship medals, 17 of which are gold. So like you can't.
It's just, you know that you're an icon when it takes over a minute to list out your medal counts.
I mean, just unreal. And this conversation was so fun. We talked about her, another huge accolade. She won Swedish Sportswoman of the Year for the 7th time after her performance this summer. But the big thing I think everyone will be wanting to hear about is obviously we talk about Paris for her and getting gold in the 50 and the 100, and especially that 100 free being so unexpected, her coming from a place of not even planning on swimming it,
which is insane,
to winning it. It was really amazing to hear her perspective on that. So we kind of touch on the different games all throughout her career leading up to it, sort of her takeaways, what's led to her longevity. You ask her if it's safe for her to go outside.
I'm not going to go into full detail about this, but I think the other fun thing about just having on different athletes from different countries, which we had some of that with Australians too, like the different phrases that mean different things. And I asked her about her bachelorette because she just got married in the fall, which is another thing we talk about, which is super fun to hear. And apparently, I'm not going to say it, but a particular word does not, one promotes violence and one doesn't, is all I'll say. And we had a good laugh about that.
There's always the language barrier sometimes of, not what I meant to say.
Not at all. And I'm just sitting, and when it sat there and it dawned on me that I'm like, oh dear Lord, because this girl thinks that I am basically telling her that her home is not safe. So I was like, wait, just stop talking. Hold on. Let me clarify. So I just, honestly though, looking back at those moments, like it just shows like the humanity of like both sides. So it's just really cool to hear. My favorite thing is when an athlete's like, wait, no, I have a story about that. And then they go into that and they tell us. And it's just like, again, our whole goal here is the person beneath the athlete. And I feel like you really get to see that with Sarah.
Yeah, agreed, which is so cool too. And like you said, we talk about so much. She got married, right after Paris, just had this beautiful wedding. We talk all about that. And she's obviously, when you've had a career this long, she's overcome so much. Mm-hmm. So she really walks us through that. And it's really powerful to see what a place she's in now with having so much confidence in herself as a person and as an athlete and what works for her and how she's going to keep going. Like, as she told us, like, she's into her 30s now. Like, she needs to be really smart about the way that she trains and what works for her. And she's not afraid to say, this is what I need. And this is what my body needs. And this is how I'm going to make it another 4 years and make it to a 6th Olympic Games. And I just love that kind of confidence. And I feel like it's something that no matter what level you are, and again, whether it's in sport or outside of sport, I feel like it just is really empowering to hear her talk about that, of like, she's learned a lot of things that don't work for her, but in learning that, she's also learned what has worked.
Yeah, and don't you wish you could you can't skip steps, but like, I always am so I guess, curious when an athlete of that experience and longevity talks about that. Like she said, she was like, I wasn't always this self-assured. I wasn't always saying to my coach, like, hey, I'm not going to do, 8 sessions. I'm going to do 6 sessions. But I just wish there was a way to like find a middle ground where some of these youth athletes could feel that empowerment to advocate for themselves. But again, as she said, like you have to go through the experience to get to that perspective.
Yeah.
But it's just like, so as like an outsider, sometimes I'm like, oh, like I wish that I hate watching other people have to go through it,
I know.
Having gone through it myself and you've gone through it. It's like, I guess that's just part of it, but it's really it's really painful to watch kids go through that. But it was cool to hear her perspective on the other side. And she just feels like she's owning her entire career process right now, which is awesome.
I love that she feels like she's still has room to improve.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt in her mind that she's like, I think I can continue to get better.
Yeah.
Which
LA
is
could
like
be your best one yet.
Exactly, which is just so cool. So you guys are going to love this one. It's amazing. So we recorded, obviously, Katie and I here in Nashville, but Sarah hopped on with us all the way from Stockholm. So please enjoy this week's episode with Sarah Sjöström. Hey, Unfiltered Waters family, I am here to tell you a little bit more about one of Dream Recovery's newest products. It is their Dream Tape Plus. First off, new packaging. Look at it. It's gorgeous. But as you guys have heard us talk about, mouth tape is so beneficial. It promotes better sleep. It'll help you stop snoring. It improves your nasal breathing. And with Dream Tape Plus, these tape strips are vitamin and mineral infused. So it delivers even more benefits than just the regular Dream Tape. Dream Tape Plus is infused with collagen, vitamin E, and aloe vera extract, so it feels so good to put on, and it's really easy to take off in the morning. And now you're getting all the same benefits of regular Dream Tape, plus the benefits of skincare and anti-aging with Dream Tape Plus. You guys have to go check this out. Make sure that you use code UNFILTERED for 30% off your entire order, and you can also use it for 50% off your first month subscription of Dream Tape or Dream Tape Plus. Happy sleeping.
All right, Sarah Sjöström, welcome to Unfiltered Waters. We are so excited to chat today.
Yeah, I'm super excited to join you guys. I feel like it was forever when we decided that I was going to join.
It was before Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went fast, but at the same time, it was a long time ago somehow.
I know. It feels like it goes by so fast. And we were so excited when you said that you were going to come on, because we've had so many requests to have you, and just obviously growing up, getting to swim with you and your success this past summer. There's so much that we want to get into, but you're joining us from Sweden. It's late where you are, so we so appreciate you making this happen for us. And we're just so happy to have you.
Thank you.
I know. I'll say, Sarah, I can tell how excited I'm going to be to speak with someone, because the benefit of this podcast, right? You and I have never, I didn't unfortunately get to swim the 50 and the 100 because I was not a fast twitch swimmer. So unfortunately we never came face to face, but researching your story and little details about you, I couldn't stop. And that's how I know when it's going to be an amazing interview, because I was just like this, like in all my research, and I couldn't stop looking at videos and just being basically a full-fledged stalker. But I'm so pumped to talk about just some of the really unique things about you, just away from the pool. Obviously, we'll get into some of the accolades, but just some of the unique things that make you you. I'm really pumped to have our audience here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to hear all the questions also.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you had a pretty exciting fall. I know that obviously coming off an Olympic year, we had a lot of swimmers that went right into a wedding.
Yes, a lot. So we want to talk about that first, because your pictures from, oh my gosh, this stunning wedding. Okay, so you got married in Tuscany, and the picture, like, Sarah, they were gorgeous.
Yes.
Like, you were the most beautiful bride. So talk to us a little bit about having the wedding, especially right after Paris. Like, there's so much excitement, but how was your wedding? I mean, how was that moment for you, especially coming off such an amazing summer of your own accomplishments and your husband's?
Oh, it was amazing. It was just a dream to have the wedding in Tuscany. Obviously, I feel like it's kind of a dream location sometimes for a lot of people to go to Italy or France or something for a wedding. And that was the first thing I thought about when we got engaged. I was like, I would like to get married in Italy. But then we looked at some other places in Sweden, and in the end, we decided to go for Italy. So it was quite nice, like when I finished racing after Paris, to start doing the last preparation for the wedding. It was really nice to have like something to set my mind into, you know.
Absolutely.
The last details with the wedding dress and the bridesmaids' dresses, and you know, all the details with the guests and everything. So it was a little bit of work to do.
In Sweden, do you guys do bachelor and bachelorette parties?
Yeah, we had a bachelorette party like 3-4 weeks before.
Where did you guys stay, right in Sweden, or did you travel for it?
Yeah, we were just super close to where I live, like less than 1 hour drive. So it was a very relaxed, nothing crazy. Yeah, I don't even remember. That was like super chill. There was nothing crazy. It was just like making food with friends, and I remember we recorded a rap song together and stuff like that. So yeah.
I love that. That sounds like my kind of bachelorette party.
I feel like that is what you did for your bachelorette party. The only reason I ask is because we have some friends in the UK, and so I've heard there's just different traditions across the world, obviously from the US traditions, which can get a little bit crazy. But in the UK, they for the bachelor party, they have to do everything possible to embarrass the groom. Like they do terrible things to embarrass them. And so I was hoping that wasn't the case in Sweden. Yeah, it's awful.
Thank goodness that was not the case for you.
Like that was one of my things I said to my bridesmaids, that like I can't do anything that where I like, it's even hard to go to a bar and, you know, drink too much. I need to like stay a little bit calm in some public situations. So
that's right.
Like, nice.
That makes total sense. So like if you go out in Sweden, is it just, do you get mobbed?
No, it's safe, but it's more because I'm kind of a known face in Sweden. So if I go out and party with it will, especially if I have like a bridesmaid's dress on, and it will take too much attention to it. So I said let's stay away from city center and do stuff, you know, outside and be a little bit discreet, you know?
So, Sarah, let me clarify. When I say mobbed, I didn't think you were going to get, like, shaken down or, like, burglared. I was just saying, like, mobbed as in, like, because you're popular.
Yeah. Like, English is my second language, so sometimes I don't understand 100%.
No, that's not your fault. I was just like, oh, my God, she thinks I'm asking. She's just going to get, like, what must you have thought? You walk out, you're going to get, someone's going to try to take your purse. No, I just meant because you're such a big deal.
That could happen. Like, let's not be naive. Like, it could actually happen. Yeah.
It's true. That's very on brand for me, though. I say a lot of like, I actually got made fun of this weekend. I just say like murder and crush and like for some reason it just comes out. So that's on brand. So that's not your fault.
It's just learning Katie's jargon as well.
Yeah.
But speaking of you being such an icon, like truly, you just won the Swedish Sportswoman of the Year for the 7th time, which again, you looked beautiful at that as well. Talk to us a little bit about just how proud you are for how you've been able to represent Sweden and over the course of your career. And like, you truly are such a golden girl for everything that you've been able to do. You are, I mean, one of the best role models I could imagine a country having in this space. And so what has it meant to you to be able to represent Sweden, and how important has their support been to you over the course of your career?
Well, I never took it for granted that I would be, you know, best female athlete in Sweden 7 times. I try to just take it step by step and just be grateful for having the right people around me. Like, my team has changed a little bit during the years, but it's like some of the people has always, even if like some of the coaches I had from when I was 13 to 23, like he's not my head coach today, but he's still assistant coach to my new coach. So it's always like some of the people are always in the team. Are they still there? Or I had a new coach from 2017 to 22. So 2 years before the Olympics, I have a new head coach. But my previous coach, he was still working with my new coach. So it's always, everyone has always been very, how do you say it? Like collaborating with each other and help me to take the next step all the time. So it feels really good I feel very grateful for having the right people around me at the right time all the way. So I feel like that's one of the keys to success for me, that I have it's a long journey together with one team, but still changing up a little bit in it.
Yeah, that's so nice to have the consistency, because I feel like anytime you go through a move or a new coach or a new training style, it just almost like puts you back for a second until you adjust. So that's awesome to hear that it was a full decade of the same coach and the same mentality and all those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's not been the same coach, but the previous coach has always been around. If they haven't been the head coach, they have been the assistant coach, or everyone has always been in the group somehow. But it's been a new head coach, but they always stayed around somehow. So it's really, really great to have my coach from early days still at pool deck, helping if I need anything, but I have my head coach to talk to when it comes to more planning and deciding what to race when it comes to the Olympics or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really rare.
It's really
That's
nice.
special.
Yeah.
Super special.
Well, you talked about early days. I want to take it back to your first of 5 Olympics. So your first Olympics was Beijing 2008. You're 14 years old. So how much do you reflect on time long ago? Do you think about it, when you head into each Olympics, wow, this is so different than the Olympics before? Or what can you share with us about your first team?
Yeah, so I turned 15 in Beijing. I celebrated my 15th birthday while doing the medley relay final the last day.
Oh, it's a nice birthday present.
Yeah, I mean, I did have high expectations for the Olympics, but I came from the European Championship a few months before winning the Senior European Championship. That's how I qualified. So that was kind of a bomb in Europe. No one thought that would happen. It was just biggest surprise ever. And then suddenly media in Sweden started to know about me, and I started to become a name in very early age. So suddenly I had all my eyes on me when I came to Beijing, and I don't think I was 100% ready for that, really, especially on the world stage. So yeah, I feel like I'm super happy with the performances and everything I did in Beijing, and just to be there, I'm super proud. But everyone, especially media, they looked at it as a failure when I came home, but I feel like it was just step one on my journey to become even better. But I wasn't too stressed about it, but somehow it was stressful just because I feel like maybe media expected a little bit more, but I tried to not think too much about it, but I tried to talk more to my coach and what our plan was and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I bring it up is I felt like I had a very similar experience. Missy did too, right? You kind of just get thrust into it, and there's literally no possible way to be prepared for that. There's no handbook. There's no sit down and be like, this is how you answer these questions, or this is how you should feel. It's just going to happen. And then it's more like, okay, what do I do next? And so what I love about your story is, I know for me, when I finished my first Olympics, which I was also 15 at, I felt like the next year was this redemption tour. It was okay, I'm here to stay. This isn't just a fluke. I'm here. And, obviously you break a world record just a year later. So can you tell us about that year period and really what you did mentally and physically to get to being the best in the world ever?
So that year was all about proving to myself, but mostly somehow a little bit to all the people who didn't believe in me after the Olympics, who said I was a one-hit wonder after winning the European Championship once when I was 14. So it was kind of like gave me a lot of fire to show everyone that I'm not a one-hit wonder. I'm gonna be even better. So I feel like that helped me a lot during training, and yeah.
I love that you say that too, because I think it's important for people to hear, like, it's okay to do it to prove other people wrong too.
Yeah.
Like obviously having it be for yourself is most important, but like use that, you know, like you're saying all of this, like you are 14, 15 years old. Like that is so much to manage with having the media start to follow you and then having them tell you that your first Olympics is a disappointment at 14, 15 years old, which is ridiculous because just being there is incredible. So I think it's so important that like, yeah, if you do get the negative comments, if you do get the criticism, use them, right? Like really like make that something that's going to make you better and do the opposite of what these people are trying to do and tearing you down, and use it to build yourself even higher than you know what you're capable of, but they may not. So here's your chance to show them exactly what that is. So the fact that you were able to do that young is just like astounding to me.
But it was also a mix. Like I knew that my coach and my team, they really, really believed in me a lot. Like I believed a little bit in myself also, of course. But I feel like because my team and my coach especially, they were like, okay, we see what you're capable of. And that also gave a lot of motivation. It was not only to prove other people, but it's a mix of a lot of things, of course.
Yeah.
I would say too, I think it can be used as such a powerful fuel. Like obviously you're not going to use that kind of chip on your shoulder, like redemption tour for 10 years. Like it just wouldn't be sustainable or enjoyable. But for a little bit, like for a year, for a season, like, yeah. And it feels so good. Like it feels so good to be like, ha, like I'm like it just, the feeling of that, I think Missy's right. Like using that. And then, obviously you have the people in your corner that are like, no, like we know, like we're the real ones know, but like use that fire in your belly because it's hard enough coming off an Olympic Games to then go into the next year. And I remember watching you break that world record for the first time. And that was kind of like, you're like, hello, coming out party. I'm here to stay.
Yeah. But then after World Champs, new challenges came because then I started doubting myself that maybe I'm just a super suit swimmer. Maybe I'm not, I don't know. I was like, can I actually do this without the racing suit? I'm not sure. Like I didn't believe it. I was like, I'm probably just a young swimmer who were fast in a super suit. I couldn't settle with that really. It took a lot of years. I feel like I think it took 6 years until I finally beat my own 100 fly record. It was not the world record at that time but my own personal best time.
Yeah.
So it took many years to beat those 2 times.
Yeah. I know a lot of swimmers that felt like that. And that's so interesting. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that too. What kind of helped build your confidence in that time? Because that's a long time to go without getting a personal best. And for those of us that are at that level that are so fueled by being the best we've ever been, over the course of that 6 years, kind of trying to fight your way back to that time, what really helped keep you going and give you the confidence to know that you would get back to that time one day?
Yeah, sometimes I think about it. I'm like, how did I do it? I'm not sure. But I think it's because I really enjoyed the training. But also during those years, I started racing a lot of other events. I started putting the 100 free and the 200 free into my program, where I did PBs almost every competition I raced. And then the 50 free and the 50 fly started to come in as well a little bit more. So I did have a busy schedule, and I did have a lot of personal best time. So I feel like when I was finally there, 2015, when I finally beat my own 100 fly record time, I couldn't believe that it all had been 6 years. I was like, has it been 6 years? Because I was so focused on all the other events for a few years. Yeah. But super happy, of course, when I finally made it to that.
Yeah. And I think that's great advice too. I think sometimes as swimmers and just as people, we can get so tunnel visioned into this one thing and we put so much pressure on it that's such great advice to like widen that perspective a little bit, like step out, try some other things that give you that confidence that you're going best times and that feels great. So that's going to help motivate you through the next week, month, year of practice or whatever it is. And then like you're still working towards that original goal, but you're also hitting all these other goals along the way, which I think is really motivating. And all this time you went to the London Olympics, you were so close to the podium, just got fourth, and then came back in Rio. And you mentioned, you know, you went your best time after 6 years in 2015. Did that give you exactly what you needed going into Rio to say, okay, this is my time. This is where I'm going to get on the medal stand and bring back medals for Sweden?
Yeah, definitely. 2015 was a really important year before Rio. Gave a lot of confidence, especially because like in Shanghai World Champs 2015, I don't think I ever been so nervous as I was there when I raced. All my races, doesn't matter like what race I did, prelims, semifinals, etc. But I was shaking before. I don't know why, but but I still performed really well, and I still broke the world record there. That gave me the confidence that I can still perform on a high level, and I don't have to listen too much to my brain and just let the body do the work.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
No, so that gave me a lot of confidence into Rio.
What's the message to yourself? Because I love hearing when athletes, Olympians or pro athletes say like, I was so nervous, but I still competed well. Obviously we talk about good nerves and I say dark side nerves where you're super nervous and you don't perform well. But is there a specific thing that you turn to in those moments to battle them down slightly so you can just let your body execute?
I try to just zoom out as far as possible, like almost out to space, and just look down and see like, okay, where's the pool? Like you can't see the pool from here, and like try to make what I do like, because it's a sport, and then there's so much other things in the world that's going on at the same time. For me, that's helping a little bit, just to not make everything too big. When you're behind the blocks, of course, it's important that it's big, like important to you and everything, but when it really, really matters, the moment before when you're super nervous, for me it works to like, get away from that a little bit, just in my head, just to try to see it from another perspective.
I love that. That was something I used to do too.
Like a zoom out?
Yeah, like I would think about all the things in my life that wouldn't change no matter what the outcome of that race was. And that always helped calm me down of like, of course, like we all know how much it means to us. Like this is our career, it's our love, it's our sport, and we care so much about it. But to your point, Sarah, there are so many other things outside of it, and there are so many other things going on. So in those moments where it was the high pressure, the intensity. Yeah. Like I would think about my parents. Like that was the first thing I would think about, was like, no matter what happens, like I'm going to have a mom and dad that love me.
Yeah.
It's good. And it really helped calm me down.
The last thing that I thought about before stepping up on the blocks in Rio 2016 was my dog. Oh. I was like, okay, she doesn't care. Like,
yeah, no,
I don't even.
She doesn't even know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. She's gonna be so happy that when I come home.
I love medal or no medal. She's just gonna be so excited to see me.
Yeah, I don't even have to start. Like,
I just you can just walk and be like, put peace signs out, walk out the door. She'd still lick you all over.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Sarah, I want to keep things moving to the next Olympics, which I feel like for everyone was just so difficult because it was COVID. It got moved back a year. But we actually had one of our guests from last week. She's a CrossFit athlete, and she actually hurt her shoulder, like tore her labrum from slipping on ice. And it's crazy to hear that you broke your elbow right before the same exact way. And so not only I want to hear like how it was being COVID, but then how you overcame an injury so close to the Olympics. And then I want to hear about your weighted pull-ups, because I feel like I remember watching those on Instagram during COVID, and I was like, she's such a badass. Like, it just so cool. So yeah, if you can walk us through Tokyo and the injury, I would love to hear.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the COVID was terrible for everyone.
Yeah.
And then 2021, everyone was very excited to finally maybe start racing a little bit again. I felt like it started, especially in Sweden or in Europe, things started to opening up a little bit, so you could go race somewhere. And I was about to start racing, and the same day I slipped and broke my elbow, so I had to postpone my competition start a little bit longer, like another 5 months. So I just slipped on the ice and fell on the side and broke the bone and had to go to surgery, put a few screws in the elbow, and then just do the rehab for a couple of weeks. I couldn't put pressure on the triceps tendon or the biceps for around 12 weeks, I believe. So it's quite hard to swim when you can't activate the triceps.
Yeah, I would say so.
But the thing I tried to do during that time was to focus on what can I do now.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I can't do these hard swimming sets, but what can I do? I can, after 3 weeks, after the scar healed, I could be in the water. I could do some kick. I could start to do some really tough spinning classes or spinning sessions, and leg workouts, and and then I did a little bit of training with my other arm, and I feel like that you can, even if I feel like it's transferring, or I know it's transferring. So if you work your other arm, and when you have one arm injured, there will be a small transfer. So I kept on working my other arm, and then it goes much faster to catch up.
Oh my gosh. What was going through because forgive me, I don't know the exact timeline. When you broke your elbow and you slipped.
6 months before the Olympics?
Where were you at?
Yeah, it was about 6 months before, yeah.
So what was going through your head?
Early February.
That's wild. Yeah. And was there ever a moment where you were like, this is it? I'm done? Or were you like...
first, when I came to the hospital, I knew it was over. I was like, no, I'm not gonna race the Olympics this year. I was already qualified, luckily. I wouldn't have been at the Olympics in Tokyo if I raced for the US or Australia, because then I wouldn't be able to qualify. But because I didn't have to do a qualification competition, I was already qualified from my results that I did from World Champs 2019. So I'm very lucky about that, but because otherwise I would 100% not have qualified, because I couldn't race until June, and I did 55 in 100 freestyle or something. So I wasn't very speedy, but it was okay at that time. But yeah, it was a long process. But after I went to the hospital, did the X-ray, I went to see my sport physio at the Swedish Olympic Committee, and he is used to working with athletes with these kind of injuries. And he was like, yeah, it's no problem. We can make this. But of course, the hospital wouldn't know what it takes because they would give me the same advice as they would give to anyone else. They don't. And then when I talk to sports physio, he will help me with a program that makes it more I could see that I would be able to go to the Olympics and do something, but I could only dream about being on the podium. I couldn't even it wasn't really a goal to be on the podium. It was just a dream. I try to always separate those two because it was too far away from me for me to like see it as a realistic goal to make it to the podium. But yeah.
Especially after everything. But I loved, I mean, again, your mindset and sharing that, like, it's so obvious why you have had the career that you've had, because you have something come up and, you know, your first instinct is, okay, well, what else can I do? And I get asked all the time about injury because that's how I had to retire. And I have so many young athletes that are just so discouraged when they're in that space, when they're going through an injury. And I'm so happy to hear you say that, because that's the number one thing I tell people that are injured is you may not be able to do what you're used to doing in the same way, but what can you do? Like figure out something that you can do so that you feel like every day you're still making progress. And it might not look the same, it might not feel the same, and it's honestly even more so for a mental perspective than a physical, of just like, as opposed to just kind of sitting there and like feeling so out of control, like you can't do anything. What can you do? Figure something out. Can you do a spin class? Can you do a kick set? Like, what does that look like? So I'm so happy to hear you share that. And we are going to start going into Paris, but I want to talk about coming off of Tokyo and just that lead up, because obviously there was so much struggle, so many obstacles going into Tokyo. And then you've mentioned how going into Paris, it honestly just felt like perfect. Like the lead up into Paris, everything was just going so well, and it felt like everything was falling into place. So just how did that feel for you after having been through so much and overcoming it all, to kind of be in a place where you're like, wait a second, everything actually feels like it's going exactly the way I hoped it would go?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say also, before Tokyo, it was quite satisfying to follow the process during an injury, because you take such huge steps when you become better, like compared with a normal cycle of training. Like, it's hard to see the progress, but when you're injured, you the steps you take every week is just like crazy usually, or especially if you look every second week or something like that. So it was quite satisfying. Like, first I couldn't do a push up against the wall, and then 2 weeks later I could do like a little bit more challenging angle when it comes to push up and so on. So it was always, I tried to always celebrate all those steps, and that makes
so important.
And by the way, you said like that was being on the podium in Tokyo was just a dream. Like, it became a reality.
Something I could only dream about. Yeah.
That's incredible. So Missy and I were in Paris, so we got to have a front row seat to your success. But I think something that I would love to hear about Paris, I know you've probably been asked 1,000 times, like, what does it feel like to win gold medals and break world records and all those things? I think hearing about your decision at the last minute to do the 100 free and not just the 50 free, and then taking a step further of your strategy, your breathing pattern in the 100 free, changing slightly and adjusting slightly from prelims, semifinals to finals, I think is a lesson for so many athletes and just people to hear that, hey, you can pivot at the last minute and it can go well. So can you tell us about the 50 free, 100 free, and then that breathing pattern that just kept evolving?
Yeah, so 50 free has been my event for the last couple of years. I won World Champs 20, like, it's been the World Champs every year since the last Olympics, but it's been going really well in the 50 freestyle.
Casual.
I started going more on like 100% sprint training, and didn't race the 100 free that much during this time. I decided to just go for the 50 fly, 50 free when it comes to World Champs. But when it comes to Olympics, you don't have the 50 fly, so it gave definitely gave me an opening. Like, I knew the 50 fly wouldn't be in there, but I was still a bit scared that maybe the 100 free would make me tired for the 50 and make my chance much less of winning in the 50. So that was one of many reasons why I was very, like, what do you say? Like, I couldn't really decide what to do. And also I feel like I couldn't really see the potential in the 100 free as much as my coach did, because he could see what I do in training and what I did, and like he could really see the potential in another way. So in the end, like I feel like I did it for him a little bit. I was like, all right, I trust you. I feel like it's sometimes you have to do stuff for other people also. Like you have to do things for yourself, like most of the time. But this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust him, because he also said that if I swim the 100 free, it's probably good for the 50. So that's also where I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust him this time. Yeah. And then I was super relaxed for the 100 free somehow, because I felt like I was just curious to see what he meant when he talked about the potential he saw in me. And then we had a lot of talks about my strategy, how I'm gonna breathe in the 100 and so on. So I was just focusing 100% on that, and not really on where I was in the race. Or usually when I've done the 100 free back in the days, I just focused 100% on racing. But this time I was just like in my lane, focusing on like how I'm gonna swim, and I was just in the zone in another way I've never been before. Just to survive, I guess, the race.
And what specifically, I know you talked about this before, of like you kept making little adjustments, which is something you've never done before. Was that just something, again, like your coach was saying, hey, I think we should adjust, or was that coming from your instinct?
No, it was coming from me a lot, but also a little bit help from my coach. Because I know that my stroke is the best when I don't breathe, but obviously you need to breathe when you swim the 100 freestyle.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So when I played around a little bit with it, I've done the 100 free a few times when I breathe every stroke, like every 2 cycles, or how do you say, every stroke on one side. Like a lot of the male swimmers do, I believe. I feel like a lot of them actually swim like that. You don't really see female swimmers swim every stroke like this, you know, when they're bouncing.
Like the lopey, kind of gallopy stroke, I feel like.
Yeah, the girls are more like 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe. Yeah. But yeah, so I was trying a little bit to do that, but I felt, and then I tried to not breathe until 25, and I tried not breathing until 30, but then I felt like, okay, if I'm going to have energy left in the end of the race, I need to start to breathe a little bit earlier, but I can't go from not breathing to breathing every stroke straight away. So I need to like have a smooth transition. It's quite easy, like no breathing until 20, and then I do 4 strokes, and then I breathe every stroke all the way until 50 meters to go. So it's that's the strategy basically, and just try to hit the wall as good as I can.
And it worked
on the turn.
Honestly, 2 takeaways from that.
It's not rocket science. It's just
It's not. Number 1, kids, when your coach says something and you trust in him, you may just get a gold medal from that, like right away.
There you go.
Number 2, I think.
Of course not. Of course not. It's a lot of hard work. It's
a lot. A lot.
Yeah, for many, I mean, I'm 31 now. So I've done this for many, like I've done the 100 free many times. So I know what's not working.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to skip everything that's not working, and just, not focus too much on what everyone else is doing, and not focusing on what the result may be in the end. It's actually, if I came last in that final, I would still be happy that I did it, because I was still a little bit curious to see what could happen.
All right, everyone. I kind of soft launched this at Olympic trials, but I am officially committing to competing or attempting to compete at the 2028 Olympic trials in the 100-meter breaststroke. I watched Olympians Matt Grievers and Gabby Rose compete at this past Olympic trials, and let me say, I got inspired. So how am I going to do this after years outside of consistently training in the pool? And the answer is simple. It's Endless Pools. Endless Pools provides a controllable environment, a controllable current, as well as a convenient location to work on my technique. Their exclusive hydrodrive technology powers one of the most advanced swim-in-place currents, so I'm confident that anyone, including myself, can work on their form and stroke consistently and effectively. This is the best part. Pretty excited. Endless Pools has rolled out special discounts for all of our Unfiltered Waters family. Visit endlesspools.com/unfiltered to unlock $1,000 off your own personal lap pool for literally anywhere in your home. Good luck.
I think too, like, I mean, I know we joke about it, but like there truly is something for that is why we surround ourselves with people that believe in us and that have confidence in us. Because I remember in London having that same conversation with my coach Todd at the time, and it was deciding whether or not to drop out of the 200 freestyle semifinal because my first Olympic final was 100 backstroke, and that final was going to be 17 minutes after my semifinal of my 200 freestyle. And I kind of went in with the approach of like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
And he came in with the approach of, I believe that you can. And just to kind of hear him say it was what I needed in that moment to be like, okay, I can. Like if he's been with me every minute of every day on every pool deck, if he thinks that I'm capable of doing this, like I think maybe I'm capable of doing this and I can believe in that. So I love kind of it. I mean, you were talking about that even coming off of Beijing, like even at 14, 15 years old, having that kind of confidence in your coach and using their confidence in you, which I think is really powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that.
Really important. Yeah.
It's almost like what you're talking about, the zoom out. Like it just like allows you to kind of turn your brain off and be like, okay, well, I have this other person that can support me. Like, all right, I'll do whatever you say. Like there's power in having a voice for yourself and advocating. There's also power in just being like, I'm a robot today. I'm just going to let my coach, like you really do have to turn your brain off at some point and just let your body go. And like knowing that there's an individual out there that has your back and is saying the right things is kind of just like a relief and like a load off. So I love that.
I so agree. And you talked about age a little bit.
Just be ready. Everyone just also needs to be ready that it's super tough. Like it's not, like you need to find your keys that works because it's not easy for anyone. So it's the hardest kind of mental game. You have to play with yourself there before the race.
Especially when your coach says something like, let's be clear. Sometimes your coach might say something that you don't like or agree with in practice. And you're like, you can't just pick the good things. You have to trust them across the board.
And Sarah, you talked about, being 31, and I read an interview that you did, and you talked about your age, and you said how that was part of the reason why you were most surprised about winning the 100 free, and how you never thought a 30-year-old woman could win this event, that you thought you had to be 20 or, on the younger side. And I would just love to hear your message for anyone, again, in or outside of sport, who feels like it's too late to accomplish a dream, or if they have this preconceived idea that there is a right age to accomplish or do something by. What is your message for them?
Yeah, some things just take a little bit extra time, I guess. I feel like I needed more time to be 100% ready to do the race in the 100 free when it really, really matters. Like, do that, I've done many 100 frees when I've done really well, but I have not really been 100% satisfied with myself in international finals in the 100 free ever until... I'm very hard on myself sometimes, but until the Paris Olympics, it took a lot of time to like really get everything out in the right moment. It's a really tough event, actually. It's not easy to do it right.
No,
I feel like 53 or 100 fly when I prepared for those events, like when I was at my best in the 100 fly, I felt like someone could wake me up in the middle of the night. And just be like, hey, be ready in 1 hour. And I would be like, yeah, let's go. And I would race fast. And same with the 53 when I've been at my best. Like, wake me up in the middle of the night. Just, okay, let's go. like that didn't happen. It was just an example, but
Yeah.
those events, I feel like when I've been ready, I feel like my body know what to do. But 100 free hasn't been like that. I need to need a lot of time to, before my body knows what to do, and I've been more confused with how I'm gonna swim or what I'm doing, the technique and everything back and forth.
Yeah. We talk a lot about that piece of like the kind of the inner critic and being hard on yourself. And it's like, it almost comes with the territory of being an elite anything. Do you have something that you're currently working on when it comes to being kind to yourself and being empathetic to yourself? Or is it something that you're just like, okay, like I just got to keep moving forward? I know everyone's different and kind of how they process that or work through that.
Well, I don't think I would have had such a long career if I wasn't able to be kind to myself at some times. Especially, like I'm very good at being. I don't have to necessarily try to get much better all the time. I just try to find a good level where I feel good in myself. And then I find the right time to push the limits. But most of my training, especially the last couple of 4 years, I try to find a level where do I feel good, and not try to push it much further than that. So if my coach say 8 sessions a week, I say, okay, maybe I need 6 or 7 this week, because I feel, I try to trust my body when it comes to what I need and what I feel good in. And I've been very hard with my coach about the yardage. Like some coaches are very, they want you to swim 50K per week or 60, 70, but I've been very tough on that. I'm not gonna do more than 35, because I don't feel good when I do more than that. But I can do something good so it's more about those things, try to find a level where you feel good on yourself in your everyday life. And then I feel like that's where 99% of the work is.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you always had that, or is that something that's developed over the years?
Yeah, it's been better. I've developed that during the years. I definitely got much kinder to myself when it comes to, every day of the life, training. And if I have a week where I know that's not working for the young kids, so they need to be on time. It's important, but for me it's working because I'm an old swimmer now. If I have a time where I'm just exhausted and I can't even wake up when the alarm goes off, I need 1 extra hour of sleep, and I can do that because I know I can do the session by myself, and I know I will do it by myself. I don't necessarily need a coach who look at me every session, because I know it. So that's what I've done the last year, and it's working for me. So, but I know if I have a key session, I will always be there on time. But sometimes I just gonna, do what works for me. If I have work, I have sponsors, or I have, all the other things you do as a pro athlete. I need to adapt to that. If I have had a busy day of work, I know maybe I need to relax the next day. Maybe I need to do the key session another day when I'm a little bit more fresh. So it's a process that you need to talk to with your coach if you're able to. But yeah, I'm lucky enough to be able to, follow my feeling in my body.
You've earned that.
I was going to say, yeah. And I loved what you said earlier about what doesn't work and you don't do it. It sounds so simple, but it's that's part of what this experience gives you is you've been doing this, so what doesn't work for you, and you can say no to those things because you know that they don't work, and just focus on the things that do. And we're so excited because you have mentioned plans of wanting to continue swimming through LA 28, which we're thrilled about because we love getting to watch you race and swim. And we're super excited about the chance of the 50s of stroke potentially being there, because we know that would be really exciting for you to get to do the 50 fly on an Olympic stage at potentially your 6th Olympic Games. So we know that you've taken some time off, which is so great. You know, you've been doing cross training and things like that coming off of Paris, but are you excited, you know, when you look at the next quad? Obviously this, again, as I said, would be your 6th Olympic Games, but there are different things on the horizon. There could be new events, things like that. So what are your emotions when you look towards the next 4 years?
Yeah, I'm super excited, and it's going to be a different journey, especially like compared to Paris, compared to before Tokyo. Like every journey has been very, very different. Like none has looked the same, and the preparation has been. And I feel like I'm sure that this one will be very like another challenge, another kind of journey also. So I'm excited to see how this journey will look like, and I know that I will do much less racing this cycle than I did, because it's been crazy between Paris and Tokyo. I don't think I ever raced so much as I've done during this time, with world champs every year, and also European Championship, and it's been very busy. So this cycle I'm gonna relax and take care of myself even more, because I feel like the older I get, the longer breaks I need also to be able to have a long career.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I love that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and then like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to do my best to qualify and to be in LA. And I hope I can be, same level or even better when I come to LA. That would be amazing.
I have no doubt.
yeah.
Absolutely
We'll be on the
none.
sidelines cheering you on.
Should we go into our power play section?
Definitely.
All right, my dear. So we're going to go into our power play, which is like our version of rapid fire questions. So really the whole point is just to get to know you a little bit better. So my first question for you, you had so many epic moments in 2024. If you had to pick a favorite moment from 2024, what would it be?
Oof, like it's hard to compare the wedding
I
with
know.
Paris. Okay, but professionally, like in my sport, I of course 100 free gold in Paris. But private, of course, my wedding.
So fun.
Favorite moment at your wedding?
Well, it was just, standing next to my husband. Listen, like we had such a good singer at our wedding, so just standing next to him, listening to this amazing singer, that was, and we were only in our own world, like me and my husband Johan.
I love that.
Like trying to forget everything else that was going on, just focusing on the music and on each other.
Ugh.
It was beautiful.
So beautiful.
Okay, is Johan nearby? Because this might affect your answer.
No, he's playing video games downstairs.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So who is closer in ability to each other's respective sports? So you to Johan in fencing, or him to you in swimming?
Ooh. He can do a 15 short course in 25-meter pool in like 35 seconds. But that's probably
great.
closer than I would be. He's a fencer, so like I don't know if I could even touch him with the. Well, I don't know what it's called.
The sword, I think.
I don't
The
think it's
sword,
called.
yeah.
Is it called a
Even
sword?
once.
I think so. So I did it in
what's it
I did it in Paris. They like got us all together. We put everything on, and
I forgot you did that.
Yeah.
You did really well, didn't you?
it was pretty. I think they were at like 5%. Like it would be like if you were kicking on your back while you were racing someone who was swimming full fledged. Like it was. They crushed me. But
it's 3 types of swords.
Yeah. Okay, so your answer is you feel like he is closer to you in swimming than you are to him in fencing?
Yeah, I think so. But fencing is so much fun, though. I did once in a TV show fencing against another athlete, but then they put, when you get like a small electric shock, like they did that. So if you got hit by the sword, you got hit by you got one of those electric shocks.
Oh, they turn those off for us. That's awful.
That was horrible. I've never been so motivated to win a game in my life. I went for it,
Can you imagine if that was swimming on the touch pads? Like if you didn't go a best time when you finished, it would.
I would be. We're all nervous enough, okay? Like we don't need to be shocked. Also, I think you would die if you got shocked in the water.
Yeah, that's just.
Yeah. Maybe from the starting block or something.
Oh, okay. Like your last off the block's reaction time. The person. Yeah, that's good. That took a violent turn.
What else is new? All right, you spoke about him playing video games right now. So we also heard that especially during COVID with your dad and brother, you loved playing video games and that you were particularly good at Counter-Strike. Do you still play video games and how good are you?
Well, that was actually when I was super young. I still lived at home like more than 10 years ago. 12, 13, 15. Oh, no, it was like 20 years ago. I used to play. But I do play a little bit of video games. I play Nintendo Switch. I did a lot during the pandemic.
Yeah.
With like Mario Kart or...
Fun.
Classics.
And another game, I don't remember what it's called.
Do you play them with your husband ever?
Yeah, we do. When we play Mario Kart usually.
It's like an epic married night.
It is. Are you guys able to play nicely or do you get too competitive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I get so frustrated because I don't understand how someone can be so terrible at video games. So.
Oh, he's bad.
No, I am.
You're bad.
Myself. I'm like, how? Like, it's not even legal to be so terrible.
Okay, we have to be bad at something sometime, like it's just the universe.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I'm not very competitive when it comes to those things, but it's just like I'm just frustrated. I'm like, how hard can it be? That's what I think. I'm like, but yeah,
that's fair. All right, well, correct me if this piece is wrong, but I hear that you are very fearful of flying. Is this still the case?
Yeah, I don't enjoy flying too much.
Okay. Do you have, because I am deathly afraid, like I'm white knuckling it. I'm crying if it's anywhere near, like it's a bad thing. Do you have a crazy story where you flew and it contributed to that fear?
Yeah, but it's not too bad, but it is at the same time because we were racing the ISL in Indianapolis and we had a chartered flight to Naples in Italy with all the swimmers. And I was just like, had a bad feeling all the way. And then we came to Naples and they couldn't land the plane. And they kept on trying like 3 times, but then they had to change airport. And I was just like, nah.
No. Why couldn't they land it?
But I think, we had to change airport to Rome or something. But I think I had Flo Manadou behind me in the plane, and he was like sleeping when they were trying to land. So I was trying to look at him. I was like, "Hey, Flo looks calm."
Flo knows nothing of what is going on right now. Channel Flo.
That frustrates me when I watch other people just like, I'm looking around like, are you guys feeling this? Are you guys seeing this? Like people just have a gene, I think, that just are unaffected or not scared of death. I don't know, but I don't know. But yeah.
Katie and I just flew together and anytime we would go over like a small bump, my eyes would just like flash to you and I'd be like, is she okay?
I was actually I didn't tell you this. I was trying to control my reactions because Missy was a couple rows back and I was like, I just don't want her to see
I was like waiting for your head to like slowly turn. So every time we'd hit turbulence, I'd be like, okay, no, she's good. She's okay. She's okay.
I was hunched down so you couldn't see.
Okay, side note, next one for me. We've talked about a lot of different ways, whether it's because of injury or because you're just taking some time that you like to cross train. You talked about getting into running a little bit since you've been taking some time away from the pool. What are some of your personal favorite ways to cross train?
So at the moment, it's a lot of Pilates or like different forms of Pilates.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
That. So hard. It is so hard.
Yeah. My legs are shaking so much.
It's very humbling because they're the
Yes.
kind of exercises that like you look at them and they don't necessarily look like they would challenge you, and then you actually get into them, and when you're doing them properly, you cannot believe how hard they really are.
Yeah.
I love
So
Pilates.
but I also done a lot of climbing, but I haven't like that's just like one thing that comes and goes a little bit. Like I do a lot of climbing and then I do nothing. Depends a little bit.
So fun.
That is fun. I used to be obsessed with climbing. Like it was like a one little year spurt, but my coach thought I loved it so much that he installed a climbing wall on the pool right behind like the blocks at
Wow.
practice. Yeah. And then everyone was like really upset with me because they were like, now you have to rock climb before practice every
But I
day
think that'd be super fun. I'd be excited about that.
for a short stint. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's like you said, it's like one of those things you're like, you love it. And then you're like, okay, like let's cool it for a second. And then you go again. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of climbing after Rio, coming into World Champs 2017. But during the season before World Champs, I had to stop climbing because I started getting a lot of like lactate in my forearms when I was racing.
Yeah.
I believe that.
It's serious.
Because my forearms got so like jacked, so I was like so tense all the time, so I couldn't relax my underarm when I was swimming. Like it was just 100% on every race.
Yeah. Yeah. It requires
That is
serious
so
grip
funny.
strength.
Yeah,
Final three
so
questions.
strange, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. All right, Sarah. Well, we are going to let you go to bed or play Mario Kart, one of the two. We're going to go into our final three questions. So we ask all of our guests these questions. So the first one is, what is a moment or memory inside the sport of swimming that's brought you the most joy?
Whew, that's a tough one.
It's a long career to choose from.
Yeah, it's so hard to compare. I mean, Paris was so special. To even get hugs from like my competitors' coaches, they were like,
Wow.
that never happened in my life. But one thing that was also very special was breaking the world record in the 50-meter butterfly, 2014, because it was in Sweden. So it was it was only Swedes watching. It was a big surprise for everyone and myself, and it was also like crazy world record. So it was kind of a special moment also. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's so many. I can't even choose. Everything is so special in different ways.
It's so true. All right. So kind of it's equally as hard of a question, but a moment or a memory outside the sport of swimming that brings you the most amount of joy when you think about it.
Well, that's an easy one. It's definitely my wedding then, or when Johan proposed.
No.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I gotta ask.
actually
How did he
another
propose?
one
I knew you were going to.
I'm obsessed with proposal stories.
When my sister told me that I was gonna become an auntie a few years, like 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago must be, yeah. But that was also amazing because it was a big surprise for me.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Can you really quickly share your proposal story?
We went to a winter adventure up north in Sweden with a company. So everything was organized, but we were like snow walking and also a little bit of, when you both snow walking with boots and with skis, and we were sleeping in tents outside in the snow. It was like -15. So it's not too cold. At this place, I don't know, it's Celsius, -15 Celsius.
I figured that out when you said it wasn't that bad. I was like, she's saying Celsius, which I think is like, 20 degrees or
but
something like that?
At this area, sometimes it can be up to, like during this time that we were there, it can be up to, or down to like -30 or even colder. So it was a warm winter adventure, but yeah. And he was waiting for the northern light, but there was no northern light. So he actually proposed the next morning, which was beautiful, with a pink sky and everything.
Beautiful.
Stunning.
I wasn't ready. Like I was like, I was ready, but I mean, I wasn't how to say, prepared. Like I was surprised. Like we've been together for over 10 years when he proposed, but I was like surprised anyway.
Especially in the morning. I feel like that's always going to catch you a little more off guard.
Yeah, I'm like, I have like, stuff in my eyes. I haven't brushed my teeth yet. Yeah, I want to look cute. But that's a beautiful story. All right, so
it's actually on YouTube, so it's quite funny because
we're going to be watching that after
was
this.
There, filming everything, but he didn't know that Johan was planning to propose, so he was like turning his camera at the right moment.
Oh,
so it's quite funny.
We're totally looking that up.
Yes, we are. Like right after this. All right, last question, Sarah. So what is a word that motivates you or encompasses who you want to be or just serves as just a daily reminder?
How do you pronounce it? Sometimes English words are curiosity? Curiosity, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yes. Why curiosity?
No, but I feel like that's something that's driven me many times. That's why I started swimming from the beginning. Yeah. One of my best friends were swimming, and I didn't do any other sport. And I thought, maybe I should try some sport. Maybe swimming could be good because I don't have to run or have a teammate that I have to pass a ball to or something. Yeah. So I thought, it could be good. I don't have to jump or sweat or anything. So let's try it out. So that's how it started. And then, I feel like it's been a key word during my whole career because I dared so many challenges because I was curious, like, okay, is it possible? Or maybe it's too hard, but let's try anyway, or, and that's how I continued.
I love that. And I feel like that curiosity and longevity, I feel like just go hand in hand of constantly figuring out, again, things that work, things that don't work. And it's just a testament to you, Sarah, and your amazing career, which is still going in full force. So we are so thankful for you for taking the time for coming on here and for us to get the chance to know you better, for our audience and Unfiltered Waters family to get the chance to know you better. So thank you so much again for doing this. We are so grateful. And you know that you have some big cheerleaders over here in the U.S. Like Katie said, LA comes around and we will be cheering very loudly for you.
Thank you. So excited to see you there, or if we don't see each other before.
Absolutely.
Hopefully before, but yes, that's our kind of backup.
Yeah.
All right, go get some rest.
Of course. It was so fun.